I'm Erich Pratt, Executive Director of Gun Owners of America, here to talk about constitutional carry being signed into law in North Dakota. Constitutional carry is very significant legislation. This is legislation that's going to save lives. It basically protects the right of law-abiding Americans to carry a firearm without getting permission from the government. We exercise other rights without getting permission: freedom of speech, freedom to petition. You know, these are things that we don't need to get permission. Well, in the same way, law-abiding citizens shouldn't have to prove their innocence in order to protect themselves. And that's basically what constitutional carry does. So just recently, the North Dakota governor signed constitutional carry legislation into law, which is really exciting. They are now the 14th state to do this, so we're talking a fourth of the country. And this is amazing progress when you consider that just not too long ago, at the turn of the century, we only had one constitutional carry state. That was Vermont. They had always been that way since the turn of the Republic. But now we're up to a quarter of the country. So this is a very significant improvement here. Well, the Second Amendment protects the right of the people to keep and bear arms. And sadly, over the years, there's been, even though it says that that right shall not be infringed, there's been infringements over the years, and it took us away from that right that was enshrined in the Constitution. By the way, it wasn't given to us by our founding fathers. It was simply a declaration: this right already exists, and it shall not be infringed. And so what's happening, and this is very exciting, states are trying to reclaim lost territory, and so they're passing what's called constitutional carry laws. And so now that we have 14, there's even probably another 10 or 12 that are still considering this legislation. So in a few years, we could actually be up to a half of the nation having constitutional carry as the law of the land. Certainly one of the biggest obstacle, one of the biggest challenges that we're facing is Michael Bloomberg. He's a billionaire, a lot of money, and he has pledged millions of dollars to fight against Second Amendment rights, to bring gun control in state after state and at the federal level as well. In fact, as we've been fighting for constitutional carry in different states, he's been there fighting against it. But I tell you, this has been a real exciting story, because even as much as he has a lot of money, he doesn't have the grassroots behind him. And so he is pouring millions of dollars into these battles. And yet this is why the grassroots is so important, and why we at Gun Owners of America rely so heavily on our grassroots to really create a huge buzz and petition their legislators and the governors to say, we want this legislation. The first state this year to go constitutional carry was New Hampshire. And Bloomberg poured in a lot of money, hired a lot of lobbyists. In fact, he had way more many lobbyists in the state than Gun Owners of America did. He hired a lobbying law firm. He was buying big city ads, you know, the whole deal. And yet it's interesting, when you look at the state Facebook page for one of his subgroups, as they were petitioning their people, hey, call the governor and veto this constitutional carry legislation, that post got 6 likes. That just underscores how few grassroots they have. I mean, my own personal Facebook page, if I were to post something silly that my kids said today, one of my kids, I would get more than 6 likes. I mean, for a state gun control group to only get 6 likes, that tells you they're hurting in the grassroots department, and that's where we're strong. That's where we can make a push. And it's really important. You know, people may think, oh, you know, there are Republicans in office, they're going to do the right thing. No, I mean, how many Republicans have stabbed us in the back? It's really important. If they're going to do the right thing, they got to have that big win behind them, pushing them, saying, we want you to support this legislation. Grassroots activism on the pro-gun side is so important. So it would really help if you will click the link below in the description to send petitions to your state representative and senator and governor in your state if your state hasn't already adopted constitutional carry. The states that already have constitutional carry, there are 14 of them: Alaska, Arizona, Idaho, Kansas, Maine, Mississippi, Missouri, North Dakota, New Hampshire, Vermont, Wyoming, West Virginia, and most of Arkansas and Montana. So those are the states that already have them. So, you know, pat yourselves on the back if you live in one of those states that have already passed constitutional carry. But if you live in a state that does not yet have constitutional carry, please click on the link that's in the description and send a petition to your state representative and senator and governor urging them to get this done immediately.